Get ready to scream and call me Horus, because today we're talking about Blood Angels, we're talking about Space Wolves, and we're also technically talking a little bit about the Dark Angels as well. Everything to do with their refresh, with the literal announcement of the brand new Space Wolf stuff. There's a lot of talk around the Blood Angels and how their refresh hasn't really shone like all the other range refreshes so far. So let's jump in and let's get waffling. So last week at Adepticon, we got a massive reveal that the Space Wolves are indeed getting a refresh to their range. That makes it this edition, Blood Angels, Dark Angels, and now Space Wolves all getting big refreshes. Something that really hasn't been done in a long time. Now, the feedback so far I've seen about what was shown off at Adepticon with the Space Wolves has been overly positive. Even myself, a Space Wolf memer, someone who always talks down on Space Wolves, is really thinking about doing a Space Wolf force. Well, not technically a Space Wolf force, a Wolf Spear force, because I think they're a lot more cooler than Space Wolves. But the models that they've shown off, the models that we've seen so far, have been absolutely fantastic for the Space Wolves. I would go as far as to say that this refresh is probably going to be the best Space Marine refresh thus far. That's even exceeding what we got with the Black Templars, who I think got an absolute 9 out of 10 release for their range refresh. Now, one of the things I really think that's working in the favor of the Space Wolves, and it's made the Blood Angels a lot more lackluster, which, well, again, we'll get onto in a second with the Blood Angels, and we'll talk about that, is the way that they've designed these new models. I was very scared that they were going to go down the path of, well, how do I say this in a nice way? Like dogs. Like, what we've had recently with some of the Space Wolf stuff is like they've overly done the wolf theme. Like, it's more like just like dog helmets everywhere. We've seen it with the Horus Heresy, and everyone was laughing at their helmets and stuff like that. Well, this time the models feel like they've got like that Nordic type of Viking theme to them. Like the faces, like the beards, the runes on their helmet. It seems like they've absolutely smashed it in terms of the look of the Space Wolves, and this is what is selling it to me. Now, this announcement of the Space Wolves and how great it looks has caused a lot of topic and debate about the other ranges that have been received by the other Space Marine factions, Dark Angels, Blood Angels in particular. This is why I'm making the video, because there's a lot of talk around what the Blood Angels didn't get. And in a way, I massively agree with this. If you look at the Blood Angel refresh, yes, we got a brand new Sanguinary, yes, we got new Sanguinary Guard, Death Company basically got a redo, which we'll get onto in a second. But if you can compare it so far to what the Space Wolves have got, and by the way, this is just the first part of the Space Wolf refresh. There's so much more coming to the Space Wolves. Again, we have a bunch of HQ characters coming to the Space Wolves as well. I think so far, everything we've seen with the Space Wolves have completely knocked everything that the Blood Angels got to the ground. Like, the Space Wolves are the clear winners in this refresh of Space Marine chapters. Now, a couple examples of this are the actual kits themselves, and the first kit I want to talk about is the Death Company kit. Now, if you look at the current Death Company kit for the Blood Angels, it's such a step backwards to the old kit that we previously had. That old kit was absolutely jam-packed full of characteristics. It had helmets, shoulder pads, chest pieces. The models themselves looked absolutely fantastic. But like I said, we took a step back, and it was literally just an Assault Intercessor kit with an upgrade sprue attached to it. And for me, I was like, what the hell are they doing? Now, if you look at like the Blood Claw stuff, yes, you can probably have the same argument, like, well, they have the same poses as Assault Intercessors. Yeah, but they have more like faces, like the shoulder pads, the chainsaws. There's little bits of armor that have, like, you know, wolf fangs attached to them. There's more character and personality in that than the Death Company ever got. And I think this is the big thing that the Blood Angel players are upset with. And again, I absolutely agree with this type of stuff. Is Games Workshop is replacing a kit. The least thing they can do is try and put as much effort into that previous kit than what we get these days. That plain Jane Death Company kit, it just doesn't hit the mark for me. The other kit I want to talk about is a Sanguinary Guard, and this is kind of like hot or cold take on this. For me, I was quite let down with the new Sanguinary Guard. I thought the models themselves were really, really nice, but the thing that really did it for me was the wings. Like, Sanguinary Guard have always been iconic having wings. Yes, you can go out and get some 3D printed ones and stuff like that, which, again, is completely fine. But it was just a weird take that they got rid of the wings. Apparently, in the lore, the reason why they got rid of it is because they couldn't make it anymore or something like that, which is absolutely bizarre because Belisarius Cawl is out here making, like, floating tanks and stuff. So I don't know where that excuse came from in the lore department. Like, you've got Cawl on your side. You can literally make anything you want. The guy's making AI Gilliman robots, okay? I'm sure he can string together a couple of, like, metal wings to put on the back of your Sanguinary Guard. Now, if you take the Sanguinary Guard, and then again, if you can compare it to the new Space Wolf stuff, what they called the Head Takers, I think these are smashed it all over the Sanguinary Guard. Like, the Head Takers, they have that Viking vibe. Again, the faces, the actual helmets that they've got, it's just 10 out of 10 for me. I get it. I understand why the Blood Angel players are not happy, or should I say, some of the Blood Angel players are not happy with their range refresh, because I know some people are happy with the range refresh, and I don't want to paint everyone with the same brush. I think it's a bit weird because, again, looking at all the range refreshes that we've had, I think the Black Templar stuff was absolutely fantastic. The Sword Brethren, Helbrecht, Grimaldis, everything we got with the Black Templars for me, and again, no bias aside, was a 9 out of 10 release. I absolutely loved it. When it came to the Dark Angels, I mostly loved everything that they got. I did feel like they lost a little bit of personality with the Deathwing, with the Banner Bearer, the Apothecary going, the flails, the lack of designs on the shield, but all in all, I did like their Terminators and the robes and the helmets and stuff like that. I think the Blood Angels are the weakest so far out of all the Space Marine refreshes. Yes, we still have to see the rest of the Space Wolf stuff. Like, the H2 characters could be absolutely, you know, dog. Let's just put that out there right now. Like, these could be the worst models ever. We haven't seen them yet. But I have faith now that the stuff we've seen so far, they are going to smash it with the rest of the Space Wolf stuff. I think it's a really strange one as well, because surely, like, these guys are all in, like, the same design studio, so, like, why are the Space Wolves getting all this cool stuff and the Blood Angels didn't get this? Like, why didn't the Death Company get, like, cool stuff added to theirs? But you've got, like, the Grey Hunters and the Blood Claws getting this type of stuff. I don't know, it just boggles my mind. Is it just they didn't have time to invest into the Blood Angels? Is there more coming for the Blood Angels? Maybe next edition or something? I don't know. I just can't process what some of the design decisions they've made with certain range refreshes. But anyway, that's enough waffling from me. Thank you for coming. Thank you for watching. I would love to get your thoughts and feedback on this. Do you agree? Do you think the Blood Angels got the weakest end of the stick? Do you think the Space Wolves so far are looking fantastic? Do you think the Black Templars are still the top boys, should I say, when it comes to Space Marine refreshes? Post it down below. I'm have a nice little chinwag down there, as we always do. See you now. Have a great day, evening, night, where you're around the world, and bye-bye.